At 11, a special investigation into a local jail. Stabbings, fights, attacks. The people who work inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center are in danger. A WCNC Charlotte investigation found threats to their safety are getting more and more common.
That's right. Jail records show attacks on officers have risen more than 400% over roughly the last 3 years. Our Nate Morabito obtained confidential department records that validate officers' fears and images showing severe injuries.
Even as the sheriff makes changes to try and improve security here, the violence continues. Inmates attacked several detention officers this week alone. These photos
hit him so hard he lost consciousness
are not just a snapshot.
There was multiple assailants on that officer.
Of life on the inside.
They were all jumping them.
Recently, one resident they confiscated 9 shanks out of.
They, along with internal records. What is this?
That tells me of who I need to look out for.
Unlock a clear picture of what it's like to work at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center in 2021. This is one of your coworkers.
Yes, the person jumped up and stabbed her in the neck. Fortunately, it didn't hit an artery.
We've agreed to hide this longtime employee's identity.
If we don't, there's going to be retaliation.
A man who's worked under multiple sheriffs.
This is definitely by far the worst.
And says this is the most fear he's ever witnessed.
There is nobody to respond.
He describes a critical lack of staffing that leaves guards without backup, inadequate punishment that enables inmates, and a lack of support from the sheriff himself.
I believe it's just a matter of time the way things are going.
A potentially lethal combination.
I would hate to hear that somebody went in with a smile and came out in a body bag.
Records obtained by WCNC Charlotte identify almost 20 inmates who require elevated security because they've previously attacked employees. Reports detail assaults throughout the year, some never publicized, including several that occurred after a desperate detention officer sent emails to Sheriff Gary McFadden warning staff is dangerously low, concerns are ignored, and employees are tired and frustrated. In his email responses, the sheriff blamed understaffing on employees reluctant to come to work because it is easy to lay out, and telling her he is tired and frustrated too, since he works all hours of the day putting out fires his supervisors should be handling.
How does this happen, and how is this continuing to happen?
Fraternal Order of Police Vice President Daniel Redford says employees, past and present, have all shared concerns with him.
The response that we got was overwhelming.
A retiring officer summed it up in a parting email sent to the entire department earlier this month. Unfortunately, it feels like no one has your back, and the inmates are the ones who are winning.
1032 call 5600.
Just days later, emails show 3 more inmates attacked 3 more detention officers.
These assaults need to stop.
To complain without solution is not helping.
Sheriff McFadden says the retiring officer that penned that email never came to him directly. And the one who did, he called multiple times and shared her concerns with command staff.
I'm always going to be here for you. I will always have your back. My door is open. If you had a problem, if I have told them 100 times, come to me first.
The sheriff told us he takes responsibility for what takes place inside the jail.
If you were to grade your performance protecting your employees, what would you give yourself?
I would give myself a B.
But says his officers and command staff bear some of the blame too.
Why a B?
Well, we have to understand that I can do all I can to protect my employees, but my employees need to do all what they can to also to protect themselves and their employees.
And says he's properly punishing the residents here. The sheriff didn't hold back his frustration that staff leaked confidential records.
Some of the employees I do not trust.
Calling that a safety concern. Reports, he says, only tell a partial story.
I'm frustrated because people are not following policies and procedures.
He told us in some of the attacks, officers violated department rules, which put them at risk.
What is the solution?
There is no magic bullet.
Sheriff McFadden says the conditions inside the detention center are a reflection of the violence outside, pandemic pressures, and problems at home, not his leadership.
We're in a crisis like everybody else is in the United States, so we're doing as much as we can with the staff that we can.
The sheriff told us he started improving safety a year ago and has since mandated overtime, moved juveniles out of the jail to free up extra detention officers, and brought in additional employees from the courthouse, road, and reserves, and is moving forward with significant de-escalation training.
What more can you do?
What more can I do? find the necessary people to work, help build better relationships between the staff and the residents.
He blames the culture inside on the past sheriff.
I inherited a culture that you are afraid to speak. You are afraid to work.
A man who left office in December 2018.
You've had 3 years to change that.
But it's hard to change a culture.
A culture that records show has become more dangerous every year since. The North Carolina Department of Labor investigated 2 complaints about conditions inside this jail in recent months. A spokesperson told us the agency closed those investigations after the sheriff's office responded in a timely, detailed manner. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.